Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a complex topic and really try to break it down for you, give you the essential knowledge you need.
And today, we're diving into something I find genuinely fascinating. It's this connection, this powerful link between the health of your gut and your mental well-being.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And our main source for this deep dive is Joanne Mordu's book, Heal Your Gut, Heal Your Mind, which came out in 2025.
Right. And Joanne, she's a nutritional therapist, and she uses her own experience, client stories, and quite a bit of research to build her case.
What really stood out to me straight away was this core idea she presents, that maybe some of the mental health challenges we face, things we think are purely psychological.
Might actually stem from physical issues.
Exactly. Particularly imbalances in our gut. It's a much more holistic view, isn't it?
It really is. And I think a lot of people are curious about this, but maybe worried it's going to get too technical.
Right. So our mission here is to explore that connection, pull out the key insights from Joanne's work, and keep it accessible. No getting bogged down.
Sounds good. So, Joanne Mordu, nutritional therapist, specializes in IBS.
Irritable bowel syndrome, yeah.
Right. And she starts her book with some pretty compelling evidence, actually. Client testimonials.
Oh, yeah. Like who?
Well, there's Beryl. She had IBS, but also menopause-related depression. Addressing the gut issues helped both.
Interesting. So connected improvements.
Exactly. And Lisa, she came for IBS help primarily, but she was quite surprised when her depression also lifted significantly after following the recommendations. Mental health wasn't even her main focus initially.
Wow. That really makes you pause, doesn't it? When you see those kinds of results.
It does. And Becky, she found out she had vitamin deficiencies. Once those were sorted.
Let me guess, both physical and mental clarity improved.
You got it. A big improvement. She realized they weren't separate problems. And Laura had a similar story, felt something was seriously wrong mentally, tests were normal.
But turned out to be vitamin deficiencies again.
Yeah, a key factor. And one more, Mariel. She had persistent acid reflux, found relief with diet changes, supplements.
And that also shed light on her mental health issues.
It seemed to, yeah, pointing towards potential biological reasons leading to a much better state overall.
So these stories, they really set the stage for her main argument.
They do. Joanne's central thesis is basically that our gut health profoundly impacts our mental state. She even proposes that many things labeled as mental health issues might be better described as brain symptoms.
Brain symptoms, I like that framing. It suggests a physical origin.
Precisely. Symptoms originating from physical imbalances, especially in the gut. It reframes the whole issue, opens up different avenues for thinking about it.
This is a subtle shift, but quite powerful, away from purely psychological explanations.
Exactly. And her whole approach is grounded in functional medicine or lifestyle medicine, finding the root cause.
Not just symptom management.
Right. Addressing the underlying issue, recognizing how interconnected the body and mind really are.
Okay, so that's the core idea and some initial evidence. Let's get into the science a bit more. This gut-brain connection. What's going on there? Why is the gut microbiome so important?
Well, it's fascinating just how much our gut microbiome does. It's way beyond just digestion.
Right. We have trillions of these bacteria.
Trillions. And they're like this internal chemical factory. They actually make essential vitamins for us.
Okay.
They're obviously crucial for breaking down food and helping us absorb nutrients properly. But here's the kicker for this conversation. They produce neurotransmitters.
Neurotransmitters, like serotonin.
Exactly. A significant amount of our serotonin, which we know is vital for mood regulation, is actually produced in the gut.
Wow. So our gut bacteria are literally making mood chemicals.
You could say that, yeah. And they also help maintain the right pH balance in the gut, keep the gut lining strong, that crucial barrier, and even help neutralize toxins like alcohol.
So a balanced gut is fundamental for, well, pretty much everything, physical and mental health.
Absolutely fundamental.
Yeah. But, keeping that balance seems harder than ever today. What are the things in modern life that really mess with our gut microbiome?
Oh, there's a long list, unfortunately. Medications are a big one, especially antibiotics. Necessary sometimes, of course, but they can wipe out good bacteria along with the bad.
The contraceptive pill, too, you mentioned.
Yes, that can alter the gut ecosystem as well. Then there's our diet. All the processed foods lacking nutrients, full of additives.
Unfiltered water.
Can contain chlorine, other things that harm gut flora. Alcohol, definitely. Chronic stress, huge factor.
Smoking. Lack of sleep.
Yep. Environmental pollutants, chemicals in everyday products like perfumes, cleaning supplies, pesticides on food. It all adds up.
It feels overwhelming.
It can be. Joanne even mentions things like early life trauma or even being born via C-section can influence how our microbiome gets established initially. It's often a cumulative effect.
And when that balance gets thrown off, that's what we call gut dysbiosis.
Exactly. Dysbiosis, just an imbalance in the types or amounts of bacteria. And research, like a 2023 study by Sasso and others, really points to a strong link between dysbiosis and poorer mental health.
So how would someone know if they might have dysbiosis? Are there signs?
Joanne includes a helpful questionnaire, asks about things like, do you get sick often? Bloating? Excessive wind? Heartburn or reflux? IBS symptoms? Strong food cravings?
Okay.
If you're nodding yes to, say, 5 or more of those consistently, it could be a sign of dysbiosis worth looking into.
That's useful. A little self-check.
Yeah.
So, okay, the gut microbiome gets unbalanced, potentially affecting our mood. How does the message actually get from the gut to the brain? What's the communication line?
That's the gut-brain axis. It's a two-way street. A major highway is the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Right.
Connects the two directly.
Directly, allows constant information flow. But there's also the enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain.
Second brain. In the gut.
Yeah, it's this complex network of neurons lining the gut. It can actually feel what's going on down there and directly influence our mood. You know, that gut feeling? There's a real physiological basis for it. Your gut isn't just passive, it's sending signals that affect how you feel emotionally.
That second brain idea is powerful.
Yeah.
Makes sense it would have a big impact. And you mentioned earlier there's often an overlap between IBS and mental health issues.
A huge overlap. Research, like a study from 2017 by Kawuz et al., consistently finds that a large percentage of people with IBS, often more than half, also struggle with anxiety or depression.
So if you have both gut problems and mood issues, it's pretty likely they're connected somehow.
Highly likely, yes. It all points to this ongoing dialogue. And interestingly, this isn't a totally new idea. You mentioned C. Orion Truss's work.
From the 80s, right?
Yeah, in 1985. He was a cardiologist, actually. He noticed patients with Candida overgrowth, that's a type of yeast. When they treated the Candida, their mental health symptoms often improved dramatically or even disappeared.
So he thought the yeast overgrowth was causing brain symptoms.
Exactly. He believed what looked like mental illness could actually be symptoms triggered by the Candida. Joanne takes that idea and broadens it, suggests other biological issues in the gut could also manifest as these brain symptoms.
So it's not just about Candida. What other physical problems does Joanne link to these brain symptoms?
She gives several examples. A big one is vitamin B12 deficiency. We know that can cause depression, apathy. There's a 2022 study supporting this too.
And vitamin and mineral deficiencies generally.
Absolutely. She stresses that lacking these essential nutrients impacts both physical and mental health. It's like the body running low on fuel. We saw that in some of the client stories.
Right, like Becky and Laura.
And Joanne shares her own experience, too. Testing revealed she had high copper levels.
And high copper is linked to mental illness.
Research suggests a link, yeah. A 2023 study by Chen, for instance. And interestingly, her mother had both high copper and something called pyrrole disorder.
Pyrrole disorder, what's that?
It's a genetic condition, sometimes called Mauve factor. Basically, the body gets rid of too much of certain compounds, cryptopyrroles.
Okay. And why is that bad?
Because these cryptopyrroles bind to vitamin B6 and zinc and pull them out of the body.
So it causes B6 and zinc deficiency.
Exactly. And deficiencies in B6 and zinc are known to cause various brain symptoms. Think of it like a faulty filter robbing the body of nutrients the brain desperately needs.
Wow. So a genetic thing leads to nutrient loss impacting the brain. It's like a domino effect.
It really can be a physical issue leading to a nutritional gap directly affecting mental state.
So given all these potential physical roots, what's Joanne Mordu's approach? What's her strategy, her three-point plan?
Right, the three-point plan. It's designed to tackle these interconnected issues systematically. It has 3 core parts: specific dietary changes, supportive lifestyle changes, and the use of targeted nutritional supplements.
Okay, diet, lifestyle, supplements. What's the thinking behind hitting all 3?
The rationale is to address those root causes we've been talking about. Diet helps correct nutritional gaps, lowers the toxic load, and starts rebalancing the gut microbiome.
Makes sense.
Lifestyle changes are crucial for managing stress. We know how stress impacts the gut and brain. And supplements give focused support, helping correct deficiencies faster and reducing inflammation.
So tackling it from all angles for a bigger impact.
Exactly. It's a synergistic approach. You mentioned a mouse study.
Oh yeah, the psychobiotics one.
Yeah, Studo et al.
Yeah.
Back in 2004. Mice with unbalanced gut flora had an exaggerated stress response, but giving them psychobiotics beneficial bacteria for mental health actually reversed that abnormal response.
That's incredible. Really shows the direct link between gut bacteria and stress response.
It really does.
Okay, so the three-point plan is the big picture. Let's dig into some specifics Joanne highlights. First up, inflammation. We hear that word everywhere. How does it connect specifically to mental health in this context?
Inflammation is absolutely key here. Joanne explains that gut dysbiosis, that imbalance, almost always leads to inflammation in the gut itself.
And the Western diet doesn't help, I imagine.
Definitely not. High processed foods, sugar, unhealthy fats, they fuel chronic inflammation. And here's the critical link, that inflammation doesn't necessarily stay in the gut.
It can affect the brain.
Yes, it can impact neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and even the brain's neural circuits. This can contribute to depression, anxiety, those brain symptoms.
So gut inflammation isn't just a tummy ache. It can actually cause ripples reaching the brain. Are there common signs of chronic inflammation someone might look out for?
Joanne gives a useful checklist. Things like frequent gut issues, diarrhea, reflux, pain, mood problems, depression, anxiety, autoimmune conditions, persistent joint or muscle pain, poor sleep, skin issues like rosacea or rashes, unexplained weight changes, constant fatigue.
That's quite a range.
It is. If you're saying yes to maybe 3 or more of those, she suggests chronic inflammation could be playing a role. And get this, research from 2009 actually classified depression itself as an inflammatory condition.
Wow. Depression as inflammation. That's a significant thought. Okay, next on her list, cerebral allergy. What's a brain allergy?
It's where the immune system overreacts to something, often a food, but the symptoms show up emotionally, psychologically, or neurologically.
Instead of like hives or sneezing.
Exactly. And emerging research suggests gut dysbiosis might make us more prone to these reactions, perhaps by overstimulating the immune system.
So the immune system kind of misfires and targets the brain, causing mood swings or neurological stuff.
That's the idea. Common triggers she sees are things like wheat, milk, corn, eggs. The tricky part is the reaction can be delayed hours, even days later.
It makes it hard to connect the dots.
Very hard.
Yeah.
And she notes that gut dysbiosis, pyrrole disorder, and the cerebral allergies often seem to go hand in hand. It's a complex picture.
It really shows how interconnected everything is. What about hormones? How do they fit in?
Hormone balance is fundamental. Joanne explains lots of modern factors can throw them off. Insulin resistance, we'll get to that, chronic stress, nutrient deficiencies, even medications like statins or environmental chemicals acting as endocrine disruptors.
So it interferes with our natural hormone signals.
Right. And she specifically mentions seeing thyroid deficiency quite often, which can massively impact mental state.
It's not just about reproductive hormones then.
Not at all. The whole system's linked. And here's her crucial point. If a hormone imbalance is driving mental health issues, just taking psychiatric meds won't fix the root cause.
Right. It's just managing symptoms.
Exactly. That's why she encourages testing before jumping to those meds. Things like thyroid function tests, the DU-TSH test for adrenal and sex hormones, and the HbA1c blood sugar test.
Get the foundational picture first. Smart. You mentioned insulin resistance and blood sugar. How do unstable levels cause brain symptoms?
Those big swings in blood glucose highs and lows can definitely trigger issues. Think of feeling anxious or shaky when you haven't eaten. That's a mild example.
Yeah.
Joanne notes even waking up anxious in the night can sometimes be linked to a blood sugar crash.
So the brain needs stable fuel, and roller coaster levels throw it off.
Precisely. And it can cause a wide range of symptoms: sweating, tiredness, shaking, palpitations, headaches, aches, restless legs, poor sleep, dizziness.
But also more direct brain stuff.
Yeah, nervousness, crying spells, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, brain fog, even phobias.
Really highlights the need for stable blood sugar. Okay, mitochondria, the cell's energy factories.
Yeah.
How are they involved in mental illness?
Mitochondria are vital for brain energy. The brain is incredibly energy hungry. If they aren't working well, that's mitochondrial dysfunction. They can contribute to various mental illnesses.
So if brain cells don't get enough energy, they can't regulate mood or thinking properly.
That's the idea. Joanne lists ways to support mitochondria, many overlapping with her main plan: keto diet, intermittent fasting, ditching refined foods, organic meats, antioxidants, exercise, stress reduction, good sleep, even cold exposure, berberine, green tea.
So the three-point plan helps mitochondria too.
She believes so, yes, that the positive results are partly due to supporting mitochondrial health.
Makes sense. Targeting multiple foundational systems?
Right.
What about blood-brain barrier permeability? Leaky gut affecting the brain.
Right. The blood-brain barrier is meant to be a very selective filter protecting the brain. Allows nutrients in, keeps toxins and pathogens out.
But gut dysbiosis can damage it, make it leaky.
Yes, it can compromise its integrity. Then toxins, bacteria from the gut, might get into the bloodstream and potentially reach the brain.
That sounds not good. Like the brain's defenses are down.
It's a concern. Research, like studies from 2022 and 2008, suggests this leaky gut and translocation of bacteria might play a role in major depression and other brain symptoms. Some even suggest fixing leaky gut could be key for managing depression.
So healing the gut lining could directly help brain health.
Absolutely. Joanne's strategies for this are key parts of her plan. Remove irritant foods, reduce stress, improve gut flora with probiotics, repair the gut wall with nutrients like vitamins A, D, and L-glutamine, and aid digestion with enzymes.
Addressing the foundation to protect the brain. Okay, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. What is it, and how is it different from general dysbiosis?
SIBO is specific. It's too much bacteria, or the wrong types of bacteria living in the small intestine. Normally, most gut bacteria live in the large intestine.
And what causes them to move into the small intestine?
Low stomach acid is often a major factor. Stomach acid normally helps keep bacterial numbers low in the small intestine. Things like aging, nutrient deficiencies, stress, and especially antacid drugs like PPIs can lower stomach acid.
PPIs, proton pump inhibitors for reflux.
Yes. She notes if gut issues started or worsened after taking PPIs, SIBO might be more likely because they suppress the acid that normally keeps those bacteria in check. A 2015 study pointed this out.
So the reflux meds might solve one problem but contribute to another. What are the signs of SIBO?
Classic gut symptoms. Major bloating, lots of burping or gas, constipation or diarrhea, reflux heartburn, nausea, indigestion, like a constant full feeling.
But it can cause wider issues too.
Oh, yes. Food allergies, intolerances, inflammation, fatigue, headaches, acne, joint pain, brain fog, and definitely those brain symptoms like anxiety and depression. It also interferes with nutrient absorption.
And the fix, similar to the main plan.
Generally, yes. Diet-wise, often reducing refined carbs and sugars that feed the bacteria. Intermittent fasting can help give the gut a rest. Probiotics can be useful, but sometimes needs careful selection with SIBO best guided by a practitioner.
Okay, food allergies and intolerances. We touched on cerebral allergy, but what's the basic difference between an allergy and intolerance?
A true allergy is an immune system response. The body sees a food protein as dangerous, releases histamine, causes immediate, potentially severe reactions.
Right, like peanuts or shellfish for some people.
Exactly. Intolerances don't involve the immune system in that way. It's more often difficulty digesting something, maybe lacking an enzyme. Symptoms are usually slower, maybe days later, less severe generally, but can affect lots of systems, gut, brain included, chronic discomfort.
And harder to pinpoint because of the delay.
Much harder. Common intolerances she sees are gluten, dairy, sugar, processed foods, and FODMPs, those fermentable carbs. And interestingly, she notes a healthy microbiome helps break down histamine, so fixing the gut might actually improve allergy symptoms for some.
Fascinating. Lastly, adrenal fatigue. How does stress and the adrenals connect to the gut?
It's often a vicious cycle. Chronic stress can lead to adrenal fatigue, where the adrenals struggle to keep up with stress hormone demands.
Okay.
That chronic stress negatively impacts the gut microbiome, leading to dysbiosis. But then, dysbiosis itself creates biochemical stress on the body, further taxing the adrenals.
So they make each other worse.
Exactly, a self-perpetuating loop. While she suggests specific adrenal testing might need a therapist's guidance, her overall three-point plan helps by reducing many underlying stressors, physical and emotional.
It really feels like everything is connected. Now, Joanne strongly advocates testing to find these underlying biological causes. What kinds of tests does she like?
She's big on data. A mineral hair analysis is one she uses, often checks minerals like zinc, copper, heavy metals, food allergy intolerance tests, often finger prick blood tests done at home, and blood sugar assessment, the HbA1c test for insulin resistance, is key for her.
What else for a deeper dive?
A comprehensive stool test gives a really detailed look at the microbiome bacteria types, inflammation markers, digestion. Standard blood tests for vitamin and mineral levels, obviously, and sometimes a homocysteine test if methylation issues are suspected.
So really digging for clues. Why is she so focused on testing?
For her, finding that biological why behind mental health struggles is crucial. She feels just giving meds or therapy without investigating physical causes often isn't enough.
especially if conventional approaches haven't worked.
Exactly. For those clients, getting a test result that shows a physical imbalance can be incredibly validating, reassuring, empowering. It gives them something tangible to understand and work on. An accurate diagnosis helps target the real underlying issues.
But she admits tests aren't perfect, right?
Oh, absolutely. She stresses you have to interpret results alongside someone's actual symptoms and history. It's not just about the numbers.
So work with a knowledgeable practitioner.
Definitely. Someone who looks at the whole picture, sees if the results actually match the person's experience. It makes the findings truly relevant.
Okay, so testing is a valuable tool, but needs context and expert interpretation. Let's shift now to digestive health basics. What does Joanne emphasize there?
She really goes back to fundamentals, starting with, well, poop, our bowel movements.
Not glamorous, but important.
Very important. She says observe regularly. Consistency, smell, firmness, frequency, color, they tell you a lot about your gut health. Ideally, aiming for medium brown, maybe 2 or 3 times a day.
What are the red flags to look out for?
Unusually foul smell or lots of gas can signal dysbiosis. Healthy movements should be fairly effortless, no pain or straining. Mucus can indicate inflammation. She really encourages just taking notice, even if it feels a bit ick. It's vital info.
And she mentioned posture on the toilet.
Yeah, interesting point. Sitting is modern but unnatural for elimination. Squatting is the evolutionary norm, aligns the colon better. Just something to be aware of.
Okay. Constipation versus diarrhea, what do they tell us?
Constipation. Infrequent, hard, dry, difficult to pass, often with aches, bloating, maybe headaches. Sometimes, paradoxically, severe constipation can cause diarrhea as the body tries to clear the blockage.
Diarrhea.
Frequent, loose, watery stools, often with cramps, a common sign of dysbiosis. She advises keeping that food, mood, and poop journal to track potential triggers.
What about passing wind? Should we pay attention to that too?
Definitely. Don't habitually hold it in, causes pain and bloating. Excessive gas often comes from fermentation of undigested food, especially carbs, hanging around too long. Healthier gut, generally less excessive gas.
And this idea of toxic overload, where do toxins come from and how do we support detox?
We're exposed to loads. Diet, additives, etc., medications, pollution, personal care products, pesticides, cleaning supplies. Plus, lack of sleep, stress, nutrient deficiencies add to the burden. And crucially, dysbiosis itself contributes because healthy bowel movements are a primary way we eliminate toxins.
So if digestion's off, toxin removal is too. How do we help?
Her whole 3-point plan inherently supports detox, clean diet, nutrient support. She mentions specific programs like Mindy Pelz's Detox. Epsom salt baths are great for detox through skin, magnesium, sulfur, and fasting intermittent or longer juice fasts can help cleanse the system.
Now, stomach acid. Often seen as the villain in heartburn, but Joanne says it's crucial.
Absolutely crucial and often misunderstood. We need enough stomach acid. It breaks down food, especially protein, helps absorb nutrients like B12, kills ingested pathogens, a first line of defense.
Wow.
It also helps the valve at the top of the stomach close properly, preventing reflux, and it liberates B12 from food so we can use it.
So low stomach acid is actually a big problem. What causes it and how can we tell?
Causes include dysbiosis, nutrient deficiencies, getting older, and yes, frequent use of antacids, especially PPIs. Simple at-home tests might give clues like drinking diluted apple cider vinegar first thing and seeing how digestion feels, or the baking soda test.
Baking soda.
Yeah, drink a bit dissolved in water on an empty stomach. If you don't burp within a few minutes, it might suggest low acid.
Yeah.
But she warns strongly, don't just stop PPIs suddenly without talking to your doctor. Rebound acid can be intense.
Good caution. And digestive enzymes. When might they help?
They help break food down. Our production can decline with age or due to dysbiosis nutrient issues. If you often feel bloated, gassy, or uncomfortably full after eating, an enzyme supplement might help digestion work better.
Especially if stomach acid is low.
Yes, some supplements combine enzymes with betaine HCl to boost acid too. And remember, raw fruits and veggies are natural enzyme sources.
It all points back to supporting our natural digestive power. Okay, let's talk diet specifics point 2 of the plan. What foods does Joanne say to minimize or avoid?
It's a significant list focused on reducing inflammation and gut irritation. Gluten is a big one, potential for gut inflammation, even neurological effects in sensitive people. Dairy, especially casein protein linked to inflammation, autoimmune issues for some, can form opioid-like compounds.
2 massive staples for many people. What else?
Refined sugar, highly inflammatory, depletes nutrients, feeds bad gut bugs. Processed foods full of artificial stuff, trans fats, often addictive, low nutrient value. Avoid those.
What about oils?
Limit excessive omega-6 vegetable seed oils, canola, sunflower, soy. They can be pro-inflammatory. Trans fats, absolute avoid.
Anything else surprising? Tap water.
Yeah, filter tap water if possible, chlorine, fluoride, potential heavy metals. Wheat, beyond gluten, flagged for potential mold, enterotoxins. Genetically modified foods avoid due to unknown long-term effects.
Carbohydrates generally.
Limit large quantities, can destabilize blood sugar, worsen gut issues for some. Farmed fish, potential chemical heavy metal contamination. And maybe high FODMP foods if you have a sensitive gut or suspect SIBO.
That's quite the avoid list. So what does she encourage eating?
The focus is whole, unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods, lots of herbal teas, fresh veggie juices, maybe a little manuka honey, heaps of organic vegetables, all kinds, low-sugar fruits like berries, plenty of salads.
Healthy fats.
Yes, coconut products, yogurt, milk, oil, almond milk is a dairy alternative. Lentils, beans, buckwheat, quinoa, amaranth in moderation. Fresh nuts, not cashew peanuts, and nut butters, not peanuts.
Protein source.
Eggs, organic pasture-raised. Meats, organic pasture-raised. Wild-caught or sustainable canned fish. Olives, cold-pressed olive, avocado, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, seaweed, ghee, even a little dark chocolate, 75% cocoa or more.
So quality protein, healthy fats, tons of veggies, low sugar fruit, minimal processing.
That's the core of it. Pasture-raised meats, wild fish, diverse veggies and salads, low sugar fruits, healthy fats. Variety is key. Listen to your body.
She mentions paleo and keto diets briefly.
Acknowledges they can be helpful for some, especially for lowering carbs and stabilizing blood sugar, but stresses the need for plenty of non-starchy veg and salad, even on those diets, for gut health, butyrate production. Cautions against excessive protein, too.
And suggests maybe trying a short elimination of grains and dairy.
Yeah, as an experiment to see how your body feels without those common potential irritants.
And she brings up insulin resistance again here, linking high carbs, especially at breakfast, to unstable blood sugar.
Yes, reiterates that point. Modern diets often overload us with carbs our bodies aren't designed for, contributing to insulin resistance, which negatively impacts the brain too. Starting the day with lots of carbs can set you up for a blood sugar roller coaster.
It really hammers home the food-mood connection via blood sugar. Okay. Pillar 3, lifestyle changes. What's key here?
This is fundamental for Joanne. Big emphasis on self-care, actually making time for yourself. Recognizing our modern Western lifestyle often works against health debt, stress, isolation, lack of movement, processed food reliance.
That quote she uses is powerful. It is no measure of health to be well-adjusted to a sick society.
Really makes you think, doesn't it? She highlights environmental factors, pollution, chemicals, processed food contributing to rising illness rates, recommends minimizing exposure, avoid polluted air for exercise, choose organic, use non-toxic products.
And the mind-body connection.
Huge emphasis, the power of positive thinking, consciously replacing negative thoughts, practicing gratitude.
Stress management techniques.
Crucial. Identify your stressors. Avoid stimulants, caffeine, sugar, alcohol, additives. Don't eat when stressed. Build in relaxation practices. Meditation is strongly recommended, even 5 minutes of focused breathing to start. Apps can help.
She gives a relaxation exercise too.
Yeah, simple one. Awareness of senses, breathing with the word calm, progressive muscle relaxation. And correct breathing, diaphragmatic belly breathing, is vital for digestion and calm. She gives an exercise for that too.
Exercise, complementary therapies.
Regular exercise essential for mental and physical health. And she mentions complementary therapies, aromatherapy, reflexology, acupuncture, hypnotherapy, EFT, colonics worth exploring for some, even if research is limited. Personal experience counts.
So a really holistic approach to managing stress and nurturing well-being through lifestyle. Finally, pillar 3 again, nutritional supplements. Why does she see them as essential?
2 main reasons. Nutrient levels in modern food are often lower, and if you have gut dysbiosis, your absorption of nutrients from food is likely impaired anyway, so supplements become necessary to bridge the gap and support healing.
She suggests an intensive course initially.
Often, yes. Maybe around 6 months alongside diet lifestyle changes, then potentially a lower maintenance dose. She touches on orthomolecular medicine, too.
Right, Hoffer and Osmond using high-dose B3 for schizophrenia.
Exactly. Highlighting that some people might have much higher needs for certain nutrients, vitamin dependency. She stresses nutrients work with the body's chemistry, generally have milder side effects than drugs. And with mental health issues seemingly rising post-pandemic, these nutrient approaches feel even more relevant.
Okay, let's recap some key supplements she discusses. Not dosages, just the why.
Sure. Berberine helps balance gut flora, blood sugar, vitamin C immunity, antioxidant. Digestive enzymes aid food breakdown, especially with low acid. L-glutamine amino acid for leaky gut repair, inflammation, cravings, immunity, influences GABA.
Probiotics, zinc, B vitamins.
Probiotics essential for rebalancing gut bacteria. Zinc vital for GABA, enzymes, stomach acid, gut repair, neurotransmitters. Vitamin B6 neurotransmitter synthesis, allergy control, inflammation. B vitamins generally crucial for brain health. Caution with folic acid. Check B6, B12 levels as deficiency is common.
B12 specifically.
Nerve function, red blood cells, serotonin. Link to IBS, low stomach acid. Deficiency risk for vegetarians, vegans. Magnesium, muscle relaxation, nerve function, anxiety, sleep. Selenium, thyroid health, antioxidant, mood. Chromium, blood sugar control. Glutathione, ester, antioxidant. Omega-3s, brain health, inflammation.
That's a lot. But crucial reminder, this isn't a shopping list.
Absolutely not. Needs are individual. Best to test and work with a practitioner to figure out what you specifically need and at what dose. Personalized is key.
Okay. Now, Joanne also challenges the way we often treat mental health, particularly the reliance on meds like SSRIs. What are her concerns?
She questions the increasing prescription rates, points out potential side effects, emotional numbness, feeling unlike yourself, sexual issues, dependence, sometimes even increased anxiety or suicidal thoughts. She references critiques of the simple chemical imbalance theory, like Joanna Moncrief's work.
And the lack of biological markers for diagnosis.
Right. Unlike many physical illnesses, mental health diagnoses are usually based on symptoms, not a definitive test. Joanne's view is that many labeled mental illnesses might have underlying treatable biological causes, the gut issues, deficiencies, hormone problems we've discussed.
So investigate those first.
That's her emphasis. Address those potential physical roots with nutrition and lifestyle, rather than defaulting to symptom-managing drugs. She acknowledges SSRIs can help some people, but urges exploring the foundations first. Question the science. Be open to alternatives.
She shares that very sobering story from The Guardian about the suicidal 12-year-old.
Yes, a powerful reminder of why we need to explore every possible avenue, including these biological ones, especially when conventional approaches aren't working or have significant downsides.
Making these big changes sounds hard, though, especially when you feel low. How does she address motivation?
Acknowledges it's tough. Says action often comes before motivation starts small to build momentum. Mentions the marshmallow test, delayed gratification gets easier with practice. Taste preferences do change over time if you stick with healthier choices. Cravings often lessen dramatically.
And the addictive pull of processed foods.
Yeah, she discusses that dopamine hit, the possibility of food addiction, suggests resources, emphasizes using pain of current symptoms and pleasure of potential health as motivators. Define your why, write down aims, focus on long-term well-being.
Practical tips.
Prepare supplements ahead, get an exercise buddy, schedule self-care-like appointments, make it easier to stay on track.
So, small steps, focus on the goal, build sustainable habits. How does she suggest people practically start the three-point plan?
Start with diet and lifestyle first. Let things calm down a bit, maybe reduce some gut inflammation, then introduce supplements after about 2 weeks.
And she gives a sample day.
Yeah, to make it concrete, like gratitude breathing, bone broth, maybe a cold shower, egg muffins for breakfast, supplements, kale crisp snack, chicken salad lunch, mindful walk, berries coconut yogurt snack, healthy dinner, early bedtime.
And recipes to help people actually cook this way.
Loads of simple, nourishing recipes. Veggie juice, bone broth, simple soup, stew, linseed porridge, egg muffins, scrambled eggs, baked veg, courgette noodles, veg curry, tuna steak or tui, even healthy lime balm treats.
Ingredients listed. Easy to follow.
Yes, clear ingredients, basic instructions, encourages adapting them while sticking to the core principles. No sugar, alcohol, dairy, gluten, processed GM foods. The key message is consistency and really nurturing yourself through the process.
It's about sustainable shifts, finding what works for you within those guidelines.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really comprehensive deep dive into Joanne Mordu's perspective and heal your gut, heal your mind. As we wrap up, what are the absolute key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the biggest one is just recognizing this profound gut-brain connection. It's powerful and maybe often overlooked. And Joanne's work offers this really empowering idea.
That brain symptoms might have physical causes we can actually do something about.
Exactly. It shifts the power back to the individual, suggesting there are avenues to investigate and address beyond just managing symptoms.
So for listeners, maybe the next step is exploring this further for themselves.
Could be. Keeping that food, mood, and poop journal, she suggests, is a simple starting point. See if you notice patterns. And if this resonates, her book has a great resources section for more reading.
And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Could rethinking mental health through this lens of physical well-being, especially gut health, open up genuinely new pathways to healing, a truly holistic approach?
It's definitely something worth considering. We encourage you to reflect on how this might apply to your own health journey. Seek out more information, perhaps talk to healthcare practitioners who understand this gut-brain connection. It's a rapidly evolving and incredibly important field.